Hello and welcome everyone to this Primary Markets webinar for Australian Metals Group, AMG. Today we are hosting Alastair Rogers, the CEO of AMG, to further outline the company and the opportunity. Today's format is a familiar one, a 10 to 15 minute presentation with questions added as we go. If you do have a question, please type it into the forum component of GoToWebinar, and happy to relay those through to Alastair. As a reminder, this webinar will be recorded and posted to the platform in the next day or so, so if there's something you need to review, then it'll be there for you. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Alastair. G'day, Alastair.
G'day, Nick. Thanks for inviting me to this webinar today, and welcome to all our listeners. This is an exciting time for AMG. We're looking to go to the market to raise some funds to exploit or further develop the understanding of exploiting one of Australia's highest grade magnetite deposits. So we're actually on the market to raise $6 million before costs at a share price of 12 cents, and we are offering an attachment of one free option for every 2 shares that are subscribed during this raising campaign. And this campaign will actually enable us to substantially complete a preliminary feasibility study so that we can move our mineral resource definition into a mineral reserve definition in compliance with JORC 2012 and add value to our shareholders, and consequently then move into looking to exploit the deposit. So at the moment, the situation of iron ore in the world is not unusual with other metals in the industries as well, is that all the easy dig free gain stuff is starting to be rapidly exploited. There has been a significant increase in demand globally as a result of China and their development, and there's going to be new countries coming on with development which will see the demand increase further. High-grade direct shipping ores from Western Australia typically are now starting to deplete, which has led to a reaction by the market to exploit the low-grade magnetites to blend in with the DSO. However, going forward from there's actually a challenge that actually doesn't reduce steel producing costs. By using that, the best answer is to find high-grade, low-impurity magnetite, which will then be used as a feed, which will then allow smelters to reduce their operating costs through reduced consumption of consumables, and it allows them to create a premium product price. As the same will be for our shareholders, in that what we generate from our end, the product will enable us to get a premium price for our product at a reasonable cost. Our project is located around about 700 kilometres northwest of Adelaide. The tenement actually straddles the north-south rail line, so that opens us up with opportunities to be able to get our product to either way the Darwin market, sea market, or to the Adelaide ports, and part of the PFS will look into what we need to do there. We are in native title area, and the native title people there are very receptive to what we need to do here, and ongoing negotiations will continue during the preliminary feasibility study to secure access to that land. Just want to talk about JORC for those that don't understand. It's the Joint Ore Reserves Committee of the Australasian mining sectors, and basically what we do is we classify deposits as a mineral reserve, or a mineral resource, or an ore reserve. At present, we are an inferred mineral resource, totally compliant with JORC 2012. The process of the PFS that we're about to undertake will move us into indicated, measured, and then into proven and probable positions, which will allow us to increase the accuracy and understanding of that asset and the value of that asset by having a reserve statement and a resource statement. So our 2012 JORC compliance statement at the moment puts us at 471 million tonnes of high grade iron ore bearing mineral deposit with a 32% average feed grade. We have a cut-off grade there of 20%. So anything below 20% iron content has not been considered at this point in time. And that will allow us to create 184 million tonnes of concentrate with a capacity, with a grading of 69.2% ferrite, which is very high grade, considering that the normal position for a market is 65%. So we're talking a premium quality product at 4% over market benchmarks. This is a long section of our ore body. Our drilling, some of our drilling campaign. This is part of it here. That's coming into that purple section that has been highlighted on the screen. There is the ore body. All of our drilling to date has terminated within the ore body. And when we correlate that back with the aerial magnetic surveys that have been undertaken, there's a potential for this pit to be over 600 metres deep. And those will come into the pre-feasibility, the preliminary feasibility study as an inferred later on. We've also engaged with industry specialist Danieli, who are market leaders in creating magnetite into concentrate and pellet. And they've had a look at the results, and they're very encouraged by what they see. And they've also commented that it's going to be relatively easy for us to process, which is encouraging. We also understand that the potential markets for this business for our product will be the Middle East, which is now going to be coming online. They have access to a lot of gas at low cost, which will make steel manufacturing of the future probably one of the main areas, second to China. Japan also is a market leader in specialty steels, and we still see a need there from their perspective, especially of that kind of product. They demand a very high quality product with low impurities to create their specialty steels. Next. So what is the opportunity here? We've identified through our scoping study on an inferred resource that we have a potential to create a 9 million tonne per annum concentrate plant, which will give us an EBITDA of around about $8.5 billion with a 1.3 billion NPV, with a payback period of less than 7 years on our initial investment of around about $1.9 billion. How do we arrive at that? This slide talks about what the opportunity is. We reckon it's a $1.9 billion capex outlay. Our mine life will be 30 years. Our premium price will be about $86.90 US a tonne, with an exchange rate of 80 cents going forward. These are all conservative numbers, which will give us a payback period of 4.5 years on our initial investment. And there again, our EBITDA at $8.5 billion. And these have been benchmarked against a couple of industry peers that we have out there in the market at the moment on public knowledge. So we do know that we are talking like for like against other projects that have been put up there in recent times. So where are we really at with our project definition? We're at the point now where we understand what we've got in the ground, to a point where we've now been able to ascertain through a scoping study that there is a potential to investigate. Well, there's reasonable belief to proceed into investigating the commercial viability of operating a mine. So the highest end of the risk now is out of this. We're still not out of, we haven't totally de-risked, and the process of doing a pre-feasibility study now, and then onto a feasibility study if the pre-feasibility study turns to be true. And we will start to then decrease the risk in the project or de-risking the project. So now is the right time to get on board. We know we have a project. We know we have a mineral deposit. Just to what extent it is right now is what we need to determine through our PFS.
So just a question coming in, obviously, just around the timing. So we're December 2017, Alastair. So when we look at the timeline here for the pre-feasibility study, what's the sort of timeline for that at the moment? What's planned?
Good question. Thanks, Nick. There's a lot of questions around what you can do with that. There's a number of issues that come into a PFS here. Is native title discussions, environmental issues. The baseline studies need to be done, as well as some drilling investigation work and some MetLab testing. The drilling work and MetLab testing work is relatively easy compared to the other two, and can take us 12 to 18 months to come to an endpoint on that. The environmental baseline studies that are needed to meet current world practice can take us about 2 years to complete. But that doesn't necessarily stop us from coming to an endpoint of saying we've got a preliminary PFS and coming to the market and saying this is where we are here, and knowing that we're still moving on with an environmental development still happening behind us. And those things are always ongoing and iterative right through until the day that we actually close the mine, some 35 years down the track. So we're aware of that end of it, but we've got to understand what we've got up there at the moment and what we need to do to keep all the regulators and external stakeholders happy.
Okay, so then
in summary,
so just back as a review. Sorry to talk over you there, Alastair. So we're back at this at raising the $6 million, which is funds just to enable AMG to complete the majority of a PFS, preliminary feasibility study, which sort of relates back then to the timeline I think you were just showing us then.
Yep, correct. So this is the opportunity now. We believe that our share price that we're asking here is reasonable, given the asset value that we place on that asset at this point in time, and we believe it represents good value for money. We're looking forward to an exciting time ahead of coming out to our world at large to announce some breaking news on the size of this deposit and the intensity of how what's the word? How significant the deposit is in its high grade and low impurities.
Fantastic. No, look, appreciate that. Obviously, there's an extensive deck, including geology, mineral resource testing available. We didn't think this was obviously the right medium to go through all of that detail, but all of that is readily available and accessible to people interested in the project. So there aren't any other questions at this time. Alastair, really appreciate your time today and taking us through the opportunity. Anyone who's obviously views this webinar and has further interest, please don't hesitate to contact myself or one of the team at Primary Markets, and we'll be able to send out to you the greater detailed documents for you to have a review and hopefully then look forward to having a chat with Alastair and the team. So thanks very much, Alastair.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you everybody for your attention.
Fantastic. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.